I've never seen the Soviets or their allies or anybody try to pull off something as crazy as this, and I've certainly never seen the United States even think about going along with something as crazy as this.
Ambassador James Woolsey on this program last night expressing his discontent with the Iranian nuclear agreement. Alongside Miranda Khan, J.D. Hayworth welcoming you back now to Newsmax Prime.
Yeah, J.D., according to reports, there's a side deal between Iran and the IAEA that will allow Iran to self-inspect one of their own military sites.
As concerns mount over the specifics of this agreement, President Obama sees his approval rating sinking. You see the story there from Newsmax.com. According to a new CNN poll, 51% of Americans disapprove of his handling of ISIS and Iran and basically feel his presidency is a failure. For more, let's welcome in former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Fred's also the Senior Vice President for Policy and Programs at the Center for Security Policy, and he joins us from Newsmax, Washington. Fred, that poll clearly shows a majority of Americans are not happy with Mr. Obama's handling of Iran and ISIS. Over 60% think he's mishandled the rise of ISIS, and about the same amount disapprove of his policies in Iran. How much damage can Mr. Obama sustain as president, both in terms of popularity but of greater consequence to our country and our national security policy?
J.D. and Miranda, it's great to be here. I think the president is going to do a great deal of damage to himself, to American national security, and to our country. I mean, everyone knows Iraq and ISIS was mismanaged, but there's now enormous controversy over this Iran deal, that it won't stop Iran from pursuing nuclear weapons, that secret side deal, hundreds of billions of dollars will go towards terrorism. The Democratic Party must be looking at this, and I think they're very concerned about where this will end up.
What part of this deal concerns you the most?
Well, my main concern is that this does not stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. Iran keeps its entire nuclear infrastructure. Senator Bob Menendez said that in his speech. But let me tell you something people are focusing on. There's these secret side deals. They won't be shared with Congress. In these deals, Iran will collect nuclear samples on its own nuclear-related activity. And I was a CIA analyst for a long time. That's a no-no in terms of how these things are done. But in addition to that, the chief of the IAEA, Mr. Amano, was sent a letter by the Iranian government threatening him with physical harm if he told members of Congress the details of the secret agreement. So my question is now, how bad does this deal have to get before Democratic supporters of the deal in Congress finally throw in the towel?
Now let's amplify this, Fred. You're saying an official of the IAEA, supposedly the International Monitoring Organization, was threatened by the Iranians.
He was sent a letter threatening him with physical harm, according to an article in the Washington Free Beacon.
Let's just return to this, because I think there are so many questions that exist. People look at the international framework of the IAEA, they look at our European allies, apparently going along with this thing, and now this side agreement about self-inspection. How on earth can this be upheld by even a minority of Congress to go along with the president on this?
Well, as I said, this deal keeps getting worse and worse. And we learned from an Associated Press story this week the details of this self-inspection. The Iranians will take photographs within a building, show them to the IAEA, and IAEA officials will choose what areas in those photographs where samples could be selected, and the Iranians are allowed to exclude militarily sensitive sites. J.D., this sounds like something Inspector Clouseau came up with. Obviously, they're not going to provide photographs of incriminating areas. I mean, how could this possibly work?
Is there an alternative available? Because we keep hearing the Obama administration saying there is no alternative except for use of our military.
Yeah, that's the false choice the president and his people keep pushing. There are many alternatives to this deal. The alternative, of not having a deal at all is infinitely better, because this deal legitimizes Iran's nuclear program and allows it to build an industrial-scale nuclear program that will be able to make many more bombs than it currently makes. We're even going to give Iran nuclear technology. We're going to help it acquire reactors as well as fusion technology. Another alternative, a better alternative, is to go back to the drawing board in a new Republican administration for a legitimate deal that stops Iran from enriching uranium, producing plutonium, answers all questions about its past weapons-related work, and has solid provisions on verification and sanctions relief.
Fred, you spoke of a new Republican administration. Obviously, that wouldn't come until 2017. In the interim, can enough congressional Democrats be persuaded this is a bad idea to put the brakes on it and just outright kill it?
You know, we're getting there slowly, J.D. It's going to be an uphill slog. There's going to be a vote in November for a resolution of disapproval. That will prevent the president from lifting congressionally mandated sanctions against Iran. But I got to tell you, even if this resolution does not pass because the president vetoes it, I think this is going to send a message to corporations worldwide. You invest in Iran at your own peril, because the next administration in the United States, if it's Republican, tough sanctions will be put in place, and there will be no exemptions for nations that went into Iran because President Obama said it was okay.
And in the interim, what really worries me, if the Obama administration is able to move forward with that, the hundreds of billions of dollars that the regime might still get its hands on. Fred Fleitz, obviously this is a story we are going to continue to follow. We thank you for your insights and analysis. Now, having heard from Fred, it's time to ask you, what are your thoughts on these side deals and the overall Iranian nuclear agreement? Here is where you send us your comments. Newsmaxtv.com/comments. I'll reserve further comment until we join you following this break.